Welcome back to The Mind, a podcast series by the Ramakrishna Vedanta Centre, New Zealand, a conversation at the meeting point of modern science and the contemplative traditions of yoga and Vedanta. I'm Rama, your host. For several lessons now, the group has been taking the mind apart, and the last one was a sober one, the inherited grooves we did not choose. So today, the conversation turns deliberately toward the light. Before they look at what goes wrong, they ask the prior question, the one we rarely pause on. What does it actually feel like when a life is working? When the body, the mind, the day, and our closest relationships are in tune? Swamiji begins not with an idea, but with a hand on the heart and a small, quiet demonstration that your body already knows how to find its own coherence the moment you stop forcing it. Then comes the surprise. The Vedic seers had a name for this fitted, flourishing state, Rita, and modern science, with entirely different instruments, has measured the very same thing. In the heart, the brain, the body clock, even between people singing together. And out of it all comes one deeply practical law. Your mind is always tuning itself to something, and what you tune to either lifts you or drains you. Choosing that, it turns out, may be the most fundamental practice there is, living in harmony. Let's join them. The same room, warm light, a sense of the conversation breathing out after several intense weeks.
Before we turn toward health, tell me how the grooves went.
I named my morning loop, "This is the loop, not the news," and planted a new one. One slow breath at the window before anything else. Some mornings the old groove still won, but the new one is starting to feel like it lives there now too.
I caught my own automatic reaction to a particular student, my groove, not his, and chose a different response, again and again. It's still effortful, but you were right. I'm not erasing the old one. I'm wearing a new path beside it.
I ran the experiment. Don't feed the loop. Don't fight it. Just let it run. Over the week it came back a little less fierce. Not gone, quieter. I'll take quieter as real evidence.
I located agency in the next response, not the whole history, with several patients. The relief on their faces was its own data. So I arrived today honestly a bit weary of pathology. I'd like to know what we're aiming at.
Then today is for you especially, Doctor, because you can't steer towards something you've never clearly felt. And I won't describe it first. I'll have you feel it. Everyone, place one hand flat on the center of your chest, over the heart. Let its weight rest. Now take a few slow, natural breaths. Not counted, not forced, just unhurried. And let each out-breath be a touch longer than the in-breath. Don't do anything to your heart. Just breathe slowly and feel underneath your hand. Notice the heartbeat isn't a metronome. It quickens a little as you breathe in, eases as you breathe out. The breath and the heart are in conversation. They're finding each other. And notice, you didn't command that. You set the conditions, and the body did the rest.
A quiet stretch.
That's true. I didn't tell my heart anything. It just settled toward the breath.
That, Sarah, is what living in harmony feels like, in miniature. Not an achievement you hold by force. An alignment that arises when the conditions are right. The body was built for it. That fitted, flourishing state has an old name, Rita. And the whole of today is learning to recognize it, and learning what the science says about it. Let me paint it first. Let me give you 4 quick portraits. Ordinary people, no saints, no specialists. Just lives that, for the moment described, have found their fit. First, a body in Rita. A nurse in her 50s, 20 years on her feet. She lets her evenings follow the dark, dinner early, screens off, sleep arriving without negotiation. She moves most mornings, not from discipline, but because she noticed the days she moves have more access to whatever energy she has. She eats when hungry and stops when full, because she started pausing long enough to feel which it was. Her heart, measured, is unusually healthy for her age, and she trained none of it directly. It emerged from the shape of her days.
That's the patient I almost never get to meet because they don't come to me. And the striking thing is she didn't optimize anything. She stopped overriding her body.
Exactly that, Doctor. She stopped fighting the rhythms that hold her and started drawing from them. Second, a mind in Rita. A teacher, not a meditator, who has noticed he can now often tell when a reaction is his and when it's something older firing. A student says something cutting, his chest tightens, and where he used to speak from the tightening, now there's usually a beat first. The old grooves didn't vanish. They became information instead of commands. And when he's teaching well, the inner traffic quiets, not to silence, but the thoughts serve instead of scatter. At day's end, he's spent, but not hollow.
That's unnervingly me on a good day. And spent but not hollow. I felt that exact difference and never had words for it. Spent means the energy was used. Hollow means it was taken without return.
That distinction is the whole of it, James, and a mind in Rita knows it from the inside. Third, a day in Rita. A studio owner with 2 young children who discovered her clearest thinking comes in the first 2 hours after waking, so she guards that window. She takes a real break at midday because she relearned repeatedly that the afternoon's work is simply better on a day she rested at noon. Her phone sleeps in the kitchen, not the bedroom, because she noticed her most precious minutes, just before sleep and just after waking, were being spent on the most agitating thing she met all day. Her evenings aren't calm. There are kids and dinner and friction, but they have a shape that follows the coming dark.
I want her life. But I also notice she misses the morning window sometimes. It's not perfect.
That matters enormously, Sarah. Hold it. And fourth, a relationship in Rita. A man and his mother who talk every Sunday morning. No agenda, no problem to solve, just 2 people whose rhythms have learned to slow to each other. He doesn't know the research, but he knows he's more settled after, and she, living alone, sleeps better on Sunday nights. Now, here's the thing all 4 share, and it's the answer to your question, Doctor. None of them is perfect. The nurse is tired some mornings, the teacher still snaps, the mother misses her window, the family has its history. Rita is not a peak state, not enlightenment, not something held by heroic effort. It's the natural baseline of a system in tune, approached and lost and returned to over and over. And what they all share is a direction. Less effort to function, more access to what's actually there. Less noise in front, more signal coming through. The present moment becoming, often enough, somewhere to be, rather than somewhere to escape.
That's a relief to hear, honestly, because every wellness thing I've seen sells a finish line. You're saying there isn't one.
There isn't a finish line, Kai. There's a baseline you keep returning to, which is a far kinder and far truer promise. Now you're the one who'll want to know why this works, not just that it feels nice. So let's go to the science, because the seers named this state 3,000 years ago, and the laboratories, with completely different instruments, measured the very same thing. 3 simple ideas from physics carry the whole explanation, and you've felt all 3 already. First, resonance. Every object has a natural frequency, the rate it likes to vibrate. Tap a wine glass and it rings at its pitch. Now sing that exact pitch nearby, and the glass starts vibrating on its own, drawing energy out of the air, though nothing touched it. That's resonance. Tune to a thing's natural frequency and it draws energy from the field around it, for free. A body whose rhythms run at the rates they were built for is like that glass. It doesn't fight the field, it draws from it.
Okay, that's real physics, I'm with you. What's the second?
Entrainment, Kai, and there's a demonstration you can find in a minute online that's almost magical. Put 5 wind-up metronomes on a board, all ticking at different times, total chaos. Rest the board on 2 soda cans so it can rock a little. Within half a minute, with no conductor, they pull each other into perfect unison. The tiny shared movement of the board lets each one feel the others, and they synchronize. That's entrainment. Coupled rhythms find each other. And it's exactly what happened under your hand a moment ago. The breath and the heart, coupled through the body, falling into step. It's what happens between 2 people in real, unhurried attention. Their heart rates and breathing actually drift toward each other. Measured, in choirs, in meditation groups.
So the Sunday phone calls, the rhythms slowing to each other, that's literally happening in their bodies.
Literally, Sarah, heart rates moving together. Not sentiment, physics at the scale of a relationship. And the third idea is coherence. When many rhythms lock into stable step, not identical, but each knowing where the others are. Like that whole board of metronomes swinging together. A coherent system is wildly efficient. Each part is held up by the others instead of working alone, so it costs far less energy to run. A body in coherence, heart and breath and brain in step, is a body at its most efficient. That's Ritter seen from inside the physiology. Doctor, this is your territory. Give them the measurable version.
Gladly, because it's some of the most robust data in medicine. A healthy heart is not a steady drumbeat. It speeds and slows constantly, with the breath, and that variability is a sign of health, not disorder. We call it heart rate variability, and high variability predicts better mood, better immunity, better resilience. A flat metronomic heart is a warning sign. And there's a sweet spot, breathing at about 6 breaths a minute, where the breath, the heart, and the blood pressure reflex all lock together into one smooth wave. We can see it on a screen. It lowers anxiety, blood pressure, even trauma symptoms.
And notice what that overturns, Doctor. Health is not a flat line. Health is living variability around a steady center. The same thing we said about the heartbeat back when we first drew the diagram, lawful but alive, never rigid. Your hand on heart a moment ago was a gentle doorway into exactly that coherent state. The body knows the way. You just stop blocking it. And here's the mechanism that ties it to everything. A body in tune is like a radio antenna tuned to a station. The signal was always in the air, but only the tuned antenna can draw it. Or think of a violin string. Stretched alone, it's a thin sound, but mounted in the wooden body of the instrument, it fills a hall. The cavity lets the energy already in the string resonate. Tune your rhythms to the rhythms that hold you. Light, rest, breath, connection, and you draw energy from them without effort. Out of tune, you have to generate everything yourself, and you exhaust.
You've shown me the heart. Does this hold up beyond one organ? Because if it's real physics, it should be everywhere.
It should be, and it is, Kai, top to bottom. Go up into the brain, and you don't find one rhythm but a whole nested family of them. the slow waves of deep sleep, the theta of memory and meditation, the alpha of relaxed alertness, the fast gamma that binds a moment of experience together. In a healthy brain, these are nested, the fast riding cleanly on the slow, phase-locked in a hierarchy. The scientists call it cross-frequency coupling, and it's the signature of a mind thinking as one integrated whole. When that nesting falls apart, thought fragments. Now go down to a single cell. Take heart muscle cells, grow them apart in a dish, then let them touch, and they spontaneously begin beating in unison. No conductor. The pull toward a shared rhythm is woven into living tissue itself.
And between people, you mentioned the choir.
Measured, Sarah, and lovely. Put heart monitors on an ordinary community choir, and their hearts phase lock as they sing. Not just their breath, their hearts, moving as one. It's why singing and moving together has bound communities for as long as there have been communities, and why your Sunday call leaves you both settled. Then, widest of all, the body's master clock. Deep in the brain sits a little cluster of cells, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, reset each morning by light striking the eye, and it synchronizes a clock in every organ of your body to the turning of day and night. That is Rita in time, what the seers called Ritu. Keep it tuned, light by day, dark by night, meals and sleep in rhythm, and the whole hormonal orchestra plays in time. Scramble it, and you pay. The World Health Organization lists the chronic clock disruption of long-term night shift work as a probable carcinogen. The body clock is not a convenience, it's core machinery.
And you'll tell me the seers named all this 3,000 years before we could measure it.
The principle, yes, Doctor. And there's a piece of pure physics that makes it unanswerable. In 1918, the mathematician Emmy Noether proved that every conservation law in nature, of energy, of momentum, of charge, the deepest regularities there are, arises from an underlying symmetry, an underlying fittedness in the equations themselves. The universe holds together because it is, at its mathematical root, fitted to itself. That is precisely what the Vedic word Rita names, right fittedness. And the Rig Veda set it at the center of its whole cosmos. The seers reached it by contemplation. Noether proved it lives in the equations. The same recognition, from two directions. One honest caution, Kai, because you'll meet the claim. Some point to the Schumann resonance, the Earth's faint electromagnetic hum at about 8 cycles a second, which sits suggestively near our meditative brain rhythms, and say the two entrain. The frequencies do match intriguingly, but no mechanism has been shown. The studies conflict, and we don't lean on it. Hold it as an open question, not a load-bearing one. The case stands on the heart, the brain, and the body clock without it. Now the most practical truth in this whole lesson, and it follows straight from entrainment. The mechanism is neutral. It doesn't care what you tune to. A nervous system falling into step with a slow, steady breath is the exact same physics as a nervous system falling into step with the frantic scroll rhythm of a phone, or the jangled rhythm of a chaotic, reactive household. In every case, you lock on to what holds you. In every case, energy flows. The only question is, which direction it flows.
And that depends on what I'm tuned to.
Entirely, Kai. Tune to something more coherent than you. A steady breath, a calm person, the regular cycle of day and night, the stillness of meditation, and you're drawn upward. Energy received, coherence built. Tune to something more fragmented than you. A panicked crowd, media engineered to grab and agitate, a chronically stressed environment, and you're dragged downward. energy leaked, coherence broken. And here's the part there's no escaping. The mind is always tuning to something. There is no neutral. 30 minutes of a furious news feed tunes you to that. 30 minutes with the breath tunes you to that. An hour with someone whose nervous system is settled draws you toward settled. An hour with someone in chronic turmoil draws you toward turmoil.
That reframes my whole day. I keep relaxing with the most agitating thing in the house.
Most of us do, Sarah, and naming it is half the cure. The old text put it sharply. In the Gita, when Arjuna is falling apart on the battlefield, his energy bleeding into panic, Krishna doesn't say, calm down. He says, in effect, lift yourself by the self. The same mind can be your closest friend or your worst enemy, depending on what it leans on. That's not poetry, it's this exact principle. The mind is always resonating with something, so choose the something. Coupling your mind to the steadiest, highest source available, that's what meditation is, what a sacred word repeated is, what genuine devotion is. Physics, applied at the highest frequency you can reach. So, choosing what to resonate with isn't a side practice, it may be the practice.
And this is where my fragmented toolkit suddenly makes sense. Breathwork, yoga, light therapy for the body clock, mindfulness, even the social rhythm therapies we use for bipolar disorder, I'd always file them as separate techniques competing for evidence.
They're not competitors, Doctor. That's the consolidating insight. Every one of them works by restoring one dimension of resonant fit. Breathwork restores the heart-breath coherence. Light therapy retunes the body clock. Mindfulness restores the coherence of attention. Yoga couples body to breath. Social rhythm therapy restores the daily timing of meals and sleep. They all work, and they all work for the same structural reason. Each one tunes some part of you back to the rhythms that sustain it. So when you choose a practice, you're really choosing which dimension of fit to restore first. And the answer depends on which one is most broken. That's the diagnosis we build next lesson.
So the takeaway is brutally simple. Audit what I'm tuned to and change the station.
Brutally simple and genuinely powerful, Kai. You are always tuning to something. Notice what, and choose better. We've now got our reference point. What health feels like, why it works, and the single lever, what you couple to, that moves it. Which means we're finally ready next time to look honestly at what happens when this tuning is lost. Not as a catalogue of disorders, but as one thing. Drift from fit. We've found the territory worth returning to. Next, we name what we return from. This week, one move. Raise one dimension of your fit by choosing deliberately one thing to tune to. Small and repeatable. Sarah, here's yours. Pick one of your precious minutes. The first 20 after waking or the last 20 before sleep, and protect it from the most agitating thing in the house. Put one coherent thing there instead. A slow breath, a window, a quiet word with someone. You're choosing the station for the minutes that set your tone.
Guard one set of minutes, fill them with something settling instead of something jangling. That I can hold on to.
That's the whole practice in one move, Sarah. James, yours is the spent, not hollow signal. This week, at the end of each day, just notice, spent or hollow. And on the spent but not hollow days, look back and ask what gave the energy back. You're learning to read your own coherence from the inside and to spot what restores it.
Track spent versus hollow and reverse engineer the good days. I like that it's diagnostic, not prescriptive.
Exactly the spirit, James. Kai, yours fits the skeptic. 2 parts. First, actually watch the metronome video or feel the heart and breath under your hand again, so the physics is yours, not mine. Second, run an honest audit for 1 day. What are you tuned to, hour by hour, and which things leave you more coherent and which leave you scattered? Treat your own state as the readout.
Prove entrainment to myself, then audit my own stations for a day. That's a real experiment. Done.
That's the way to hold it, Kai. And Dr. Watson, yours is clinical. With one patient, instead of reaching for a technique, ask which dimension of fit is most disrupted. The body clock, the breath and heart, attention, daily rhythm, or connection. Then restore that one first, with whatever tool matches it. You're not choosing between competing therapies, you're choosing which broken rhythm to retune first.
Diagnose the most disrupted dimension of fit, then match the practice to it. That turns my scatter toolkit into one coherent approach. I wanted that for years.
Then you hold the reference point. All of you. The felt vision, the science underneath it, and the one lever that moves it. Next time, the honest turn we've earned. What it looks like when the tuning is lost, and how all the names for suffering are, underneath, a single drift from fit.
And so the conversation turned toward the light, and found that health is not an abstraction, but a felt, recognizable thing. It began with a hand on the heart and a small revelation. You do not command your body into coherence. You set the conditions, and it finds its own way there. The heart leaning toward the breath without being told. The group walked 4 ordinary lives in Rita: a body, a mind, a day, a relationship, and found in all of them not perfection, but a single direction. Less effort to function, more access to what is already there. Then the science, which turns out to be saying the same thing the seers said. Resonance, the way a tuned system draws energy from the field. Entrainment, the way coupled rhythms find each other, breath and heart, 2 people, a choir. And coherence, the efficient, mutually supporting order that the body measures as a healthy, variable heartbeat and a well-kept body clock. And from it all, one law to live by. The mind is always tuning itself to something. There is no neutral, and what you tune to either lifts you or drains you. To choose that, the steady breath over the frantic feed, the calm presence over the chaotic one, the highest source over the most agitating, is perhaps the most fundamental practice there is, and it is the quiet unity beneath every well-being method that actually works. To go deeper, the full Lesson 4.6 is available in the course Beginners, Conversations on the Mind in the Light of Modern and Spiritual Sciences on the Ramakrishna Vedanta Center's website, www.vedanta.nz. It is also available as an app on Google Play and the Apple App Store by searching for Vedanta NZ. Next time, the honest turn. What happens when this fit is lost, and how the many faces of suffering are, underneath, one drift from Rita. Until then, be gentle with your mind.